My name is Diana. Alright, let me start off with a question. Who here agrees that sex is a natural part of life? Okay. Now, how many of you guys would hate to be punished for fulfilling that desire? Okay. So not everybody finds it easy to, get some or fulfill that desire. I'm sorry. Either from lack of confidence, their appearance, or simply maybe they just don't want anything serious. They just want to hit it and quit it, quick little, Okay. Now think about it like this. Think about dating. When you go on a date, it's less likely for you to get laid if you don't put the effort, maybe the time, or the money, to take her out or anything, right? So then, doesn't that make you think that sex maybe is never free? I mean, think about it. So I'm here today to, talk about legalizing prostitution, which is one of the most popular and oldest professions. As of now, prostitution is illegal in pretty much everywhere in the U.S. except for 11 counties in Nevada. And then, most, depending on what state you're in, it's a different punishment. But in California, the punishment is if you're the customer or the prostitute, it's up to a year or $1,000 fine. Now, if you're a pimp or a brothel owner, it ranges anywhere from 3 to 6 years in prison, state prison. So, yeah, don't do that. Anyways, so the reason I think that we should legalize it is because although people may say it's harmful now because, the spread of disease and all that, that's only because there's nothing protecting the actual workers or these women. I mean, so if we started protecting them, or there was a law or anything that protected them, we'd be able to limit or, catch diseases before they were spread by regulating checkups or, that kind of stuff. So in a study conducted by PHBB Lowe, she's the head of the Human Rights and Bioethics Unit in the Department of Epidemiology and Preventive Medicine at Monash University, said the prevalence of sexually transmitted bacterial infections was 80 times greater in 63 illegal street prostitutes than in 753 of their legal brothel counterparts. I mean, of course, the risk is there. I mean, if you don't use the right precautions, I mean, that goes for anywhere, whether you're a prostitute or not, you should put a condom on before doing any sexual activity. But, I mean, if we are able to check, get them checkups and stuff, it's easier to control that. Another thing would be, when you pretty much tell them that you can't. Okay. Another thing would be to help pretty much reduce the violence and abuse that these women get with protection. I mean, a lot of them are actually raped, even though that's their job. Says Melissa Dipmore, she's a coordinator in the Global Network of Sex World Project, says police cannot and do not simultaneously seek to arrest prostitutes and protect them from violence, and in many instances have been responded, well, what do you expect us to do? Like when they report that they've been raped, they're just pretty much told that they can't do anything about it. There's just no rights against them. Well, that's not right. The situation, everyone reserves a right for justice. This also links to their freedom of choice. A lot of people might think it's not a freedom of choice to become a prostitute. A lot of people think, you're just doing it for the money. And yeah, that's right. A lot of people do it for the money. But I mean, you got to think of why they're doing it as well. It's easier money. A lot of people can't just easily obtain the money that they need, either from lack of education or whatever it is, or they're going to school and maybe they just need the money for school. So by doing that, you're pretty much taking away their choice, their right to choose, or the option to better themselves in that way if that's how they choose to do so, in order to obtain a comfortable lifestyle. Another one would be, prostitution is still a job. And like everyone else here, we get taxed, we have to pay our taxes and stuff. So, and I don't know if you know, I figure prostitutes get paid pretty good. And if they don't, well, that sucks. But, you would want to, tax them. Just tax them, because we're all paying taxes. We all owe Uncle Sam. So, as well as the customers and the brothel owners and the pimps, all of them, tax them. And that's a right of the citizens in this country. So yeah, so it's pretty much, that's my proposition in order to legalize it, yeah.
All right, Diana, the audience survey rhetorical questions at the beginning are a little bit awkward, and the connection to legalized prostitution, I think, is a kind of a stretch there. When you make the transition by talking about dating, it sounds like you're in essence suggesting that if somebody takes another person out, they're just paying to get laid anyway. So I think you're going to lose part of your audience on the basis of that. You want to be careful about making it an inference like that. There's a value argument to be made here, but remember, this is an assignment about a claim of fact. You end up, though, advocating claim of policy. You're advocating that we ought to legalize prostitution. The claim of fact on this would be legalizing prostitution would have particular benefits. Now, in the course of your speech, I think you raised some of the topics, but you need to make declarative statements about what those benefits would be. So you could say legalized prostitution would reduce the spread of STDs. Legalized prostitution would reduce violence against prostitutes. Legalized prostitution would create economic security for parts of the population. Legalized prostitution would result in an increase in tax revenue for the government. Those would be the kinds of claims that would make it an easier argument to follow, and those are declarative sentences that focus on the factual issue rather than the policy elements there. Some of the evidence that you have, the best piece of evidence that you had was the statistical information about the rate of STDs in streetwalkers versus those in brothels, suggesting that there is an effectiveness when prostitution is legalized at controlling the amount of disease that goes on there. Everything else is very hypothetical and general in nature. The stuff on violence against the prostitutes needs to be developed a lot more. You kind of tell some stories that seem to suggest that there is something that's unfair that's going on here. I think that there is an unfairness that's going on. I think that might be true. What you ought to be arguing, though, is that the level of violence against prostitutes is higher because it is illegal. In other words, make a causal claim on that particular point. When you talk about the right to choose, that's a value argument, and that's appropriate for another assignment, but not for this particular assignment. When you talk about their need for money, and they're just trying to go to school and stuff like that, my guess is the vast majority of prostitutes are not using their money to go to school. The vast majority of them are using it to pay for drugs. So if you're going to make an economic argument on behalf of the workers here, you need to have some information that shows that the workers are in that situation. We had somebody use stereotyping earlier as an example. Well, maybe I'm just stereotyping, thinking that most of the hookers out there are drug addicts. They're really just hardworking moms who are trying to raise their kids. I could be wrong about that, but you need to give me some data that shows that, and I don't get any of that. Sometimes you're a little flip in. I know it's the subject about sexuality, and it's a kind of an awkward subject, so I don't mind that there's occasionally a joke or a pun or something that's going on there. But you do seem like you are self-conscious the whole time you're speaking about it, and I think you need to, like I said, if you were more specific about what your claims are and more forceful about the positions that you were taking, I think you'd be able to get over that and it would come across a lot more credibly. All right, thank you.